Hello and welcome to episode 42 of I Will Cast Anything. We're on CloudKingdom for a PvZ. The purple Zerg player spawning in the top right hand position is sNuFFsie, and the yellow Protoss player spawning in the bottom left hand position is PAYBACKsqrd. sNuFFsie posted this replay to me on the castit subreddit. He says good luck, have fun. He is a Gold League player in the US region, and PAYBACKsqrd is a Platinum League player in the US region. And this game was part of a an amateur league, I believe. sNuFFsie, let me know. Bit of an overseer trick there. That's where you build that extractor, queue up a drone, and then cancel it. Lets you basically go oversupply by one. And Payback at the moment is just chrono boosting into that nexus. Has built a pylon down here, has sent out probe scout to make sure there's no early spawning pool action, which there isn't. Nothing but drones coming at the moment for sNuFFsie. So we'll see what is the tactic of choice. One would expect he's going to attempt a hatchery first, but there is a probe here, and this probe is probably going to try and prevent that hatchery from being built. Running around in a big old circle, and it looks like, having seen that this was going to be attempted, sNuFFsie has decided to go for a spawning pool first instead. Payback is working on his wall off here. This is a pretty good area for Protoss to wall off on CloudKingdom. You go for a forge, a couple of pylons and a gateway, stick a cannon behind it, and it's very difficult for any early Zergling pressure to do any damage to you. Zerg really has to get up to Roach before they can deal with anything like that, or alternatively go for a large-scale baneling bust. Here's that second hatchery for Zerg, having distracted that probe sufficiently to get it out of the way and build it. And the Overlord has made its way across the map, and it's going to gather valuable scouting information here. It's going to see that the wall off has started. Just seeing that one forge will be enough for sNuFFsie to know that the wall off is what's happening. And we see Protoss getting a nexus. Meanwhile, the extractor has been built for real for sNuFFsie. Got to get that gas mining to get Zergling speed, always very, very important. And the second hatchery is about halfway done. Also see one overseer hanging out here just to make sure that anything coming up the ramp is spotted nice and early. There's also a drone scout out on the map, but that's heading home now. And the roach warren is going down pretty early, so having seen that the wall off was happening from his opponent, sNuFFsie says, well, I've got to get roaches so I can bust that thing down eventually. Protoss is getting a second nexus, getting double gas at the main. That's quite a fair bit of gas early on. You don't need double gas just for warp gate research, so perhaps thinking about using this forge to get a weapon upgrade, +1 weapons early on, as well as trying to get warp gate research from this cyber core. There goes the second nexus. And some probes are selected and transferred down to get mining at both bases. We also see a probe coming up here. I wonder if there's going to be a pylon plopped down in advance for some sort of early warp gate pressure, perhaps. We do see that Zerg is getting the first wave of roaches out pretty early, so cutting off drone production after only saturating that top base. Not transferred any drones down to this bottom base yet, so looks like some early aggression might be coming from Zerg at this point, and we don't see any units out yet. Ah yes, okay, we do. We see one zealot standing in the gap in the wall to hold things off. We see one sentry on the way, and we do see warp gate research and +1 weapons coming. But there are some roaches coming across the map here. 5 roaches against one zealot and one sentry won't go terribly well. There is a cannon back here, and another one going down. We'll see what sNuFFsie can do with this roach pressure here. I think if this sentry has enough for a force field, which it does have enough for one force field, I think sNuFFsie is going to be able to hold this off. But this cannon position is not ideal because these roaches are able to get in position and fire at this pylon, and now there's going to be a big gap for things to run through. There's the first force field. A second zealot needs to come, second sentry needs to come in here even, because at the moment there isn't enough energy for another force field once this one goes, and sNuFFsie, if a wave of lings were produced, would be able to run straight up in here. And here comes another pylon going down. Warp gate research never finished. That was an excellent move from sNuFFsie, taking out that pylon, and a poor bit of planning from Payback. Now finally deciding, okay, I've got to do something here, sending in the Zealot, but that Zealot is going to die, and one more volley from the roaches, there it goes. That was a wasted force field there with only 2 sentries. Now has no energy for any more force fields. It's going to have to try and go in and do damage with that sentry, but sentry's attack is pretty poor. Chrono boosting into this warp gate, desperately trying to get another sentry out, get some force fields up, do some defense. There is finally a pylon up to power this cyber core, get that warp gate research finishing, but it's desperately needed to get out more units. Now sNuFFsie, I'm not sure this is the smartest decision, going and attacking, trying to micro back the roaches to avoid, but 2 cannons here, more than enough to deal with these roaches. But behind this, layer tech is already done for sNuFFsie, and drone production has resumed, so sacrifice some drone production to get some roaches out, but more than worth it. Delaying this warp gate till nearly the 9-minute mark before it's finished is incredibly effective, because look at the units that Payback has out on the field at the moment. Just 1 sentry, as Payback is not going to be able to move out onto the map for a long time now. Getting more gateways at last here. And just still this roach pressure here. These cannons are not able to stop these roaches from attacking this gateway, and it's going to go down. This second cannon is maybe... oh, it's going to be so close if it gets up in time. Here comes this sentry. Tries to force field to push the roaches away just a little bit, but they're still not in range. Here comes this photon cannon. Oh, it's going to be close. The roaches retreat. They do not go in for the attack. sNuFFsie behind all this, getting an evolution chamber, getting burrow, getting roach speed, getting zergling speed, producing more roaches. And sNuFFsie's taken a very firm early lead in this game, I have to say. I'm pretty impressed with the taking out of that pylon early, delaying warp gate by so much, +1 missile attacks also coming, so looks like roaches are going to be a mainstay of the army for a significant period of time here. Protoss is taking gas down at this natural expansion and getting some immortals out. Finally has enough cannons here to do some damage, but that earlier damage, warp gate has gone down, the roaches are coming in, and so are the zerglings, but there are 4 cannons here now. 4 cannons plus an immortal plus 2 sentries for force fields is going to be enough to hold this for the time being. But just so much damage has been done. Another wave of sentries warped in, up to 5 now, to get that warp gate production, to get enough force fields to defend this solidly. Payback still very much on the back foot, and Overlords have been brought over here. Ventral Sacs is being researched, and a bunch of drones are being taken to head down to this 3rd base, so sNuFFsie taking a firm economic lead here and thinking about trying to drop up into this main, but here comes the first sentry out on the field and is going to push away this Overlord. Won't be able to kill it. Does have that robotics bay, does have 3 gateways up at the top now, desperately trying to rebuild this gateway and get that wall off done, and I think it will work, but Ventral Sacs is halfway done. 3 Overlords over here will be able to pick up a bunch of roaches and drop them into the main base, which is going to be tricky because PAYBACKsqrd is so focused on defending the front door here. Finally gets this gateway down to get that wall off back in some semblance of order. And this Overlord has just come in here to scout, see what's going on. It sees that the Robo Bay is being chrono boosted into to produce more and more immortals, sees how many gateways there are, and sees that, you know, there aren't enough gateways. There should be more really for Protoss at this point. Oh, good force fields. Cuts off those roaches. Perhaps maybe not worth using all that force field energy to kill that many. Here comes an engagement. Force fields behind the roaches. Not great force fields again, and it looks like this force of Payback is going to be pushed back. Oh, the sentries are being surrounded and picked off. And once again, Payback is left without enough sentries to wall off with force fields. And Ventral Sacs is finished. The Overlords are going to start picking up the forces and dropping them into the main here. We'll see how much damage sNuFFsie can do with this. Is getting the infestation pit behind this and is mining on 3 bases now. 3 more gateways coming down, four more gateways coming down to Protoss. Sends some Zerglings up at the front to distract and drops roaches into the main. This is a great move from sNuFFsie. He's going to be able to take out several of these gates before they complete or potentially force cancels. Stalkers are warping in, and the Stalkers and Stalkers and Immortals have come up from the bottom, but since they've come up from the bottom, this gap is exposed. There's a Ling run-by going in. That's going to take out a lot of workers. These roaches are making a nuisance of themselves in the main. They're now going to go for workers instead of going for the army. Some have been picked up and retreated. Up to 9 workers killed already. Those Lings munching away down in the natural expansion. Finally, looks like these roaches might get cleaned up, but no, they're still killing workers. Oh, Payback. What are you doing? You need to kill these roaches. I think Payback is... I don't know what Payback's doing at the moment. Seems slightly distracted. There we go. Finally comes in. Finally cleans up those roaches, but huge amounts of damage have been done. 33 workers killed. Cleaned out almost completely this natural expansion. I think Payback was slightly paralyzed at what was going on there. And moving out now, trying to counterattack, but another small force has been warped in, has been Overlord dropped in up to the main here, and the rest of those workers are going to die. Is able to move out with the Zealot, with the Stalker Immortal force here and do some damage, clean up these roaches at long last, and might be able to take out these Overlords actually. This could be bad for sNuFFsie if all these Overlords go down. That was some astonishing BM. That's not exactly what we might call traditional way to end the game there.